Yes, yes, bless up people. This is Blind Visionary, aka The Conduit, coming at you with another blind review. Today I'm going to be talking about Oh Yeah, and another thing. The EP from The Bad Seed that just dropped a little over a month ago. Now you're probably saying to yourself, wait, EP, Bad Seed, didn't you just do a review of an album from this guy like 2 months ago? Well, yeah, right after that, he had announced that he had some leftover songs that didn't quite gel with the vibe of the album that he was going to put out as an EP. And as promised, this is the EP. Now, off the bat, the best way to describe these songs are not something greater than myself. It's very, very, very apparent as soon as you start getting probably to the second song that you completely understand why C did what he did. And it was a good call. Even though I think the song Good Enough would have went well with the rest of the content and subject matter on something greater than myself. But it is what it is. We have it on this project. So the fact that we have it is all that matters. And off the bat, the best way to sum up this EP is if you go to a gourmet restaurant, a five-star gourmet restaurant, and you have like this incredible meal that just leaves you speechless and your taste buds having multiple orgasms and shit. Like that is what the album Something Greater Than Myself was. A wholehearted gourmet meal that hit the spot and then some. Now like after you have your nice little meal at the restaurant and you call for the check and you're getting ready to leave and you also say, hey, can I get a takeaway box? And what you couldn't consume, you kind of just pile into the takeaway box and you set off and you leave the restaurant and you head home. Then maybe either later that night or the next morning, when hunger start lick you, you decide, okay, I'm gonna indulge on this takeaway box. Well, that is, oh yeah, and another thing in a nutshell. It is the takeaway box for something greater than myself. You are going to get a substantial meal, but it's not going to be the same. It can't be the same. It isn't the same. And it's apparent right out the gate that you're still getting some dope shit though. So even though I'm speaking the way I'm speaking and it might sound like a negative, it's not when you're comparing it to a body of work like Something Greater Than Myself. And it's also not negative when you understand why these songs were compiled. Makes perfect sense. And for what it is, for throwaway shit, man, this is some primo throwaway shit. And it is well worth checking out as a new fan or as an existing fan of Bad Seed. Like, Bad Seed is consistent. You're not going to get fuckery from this brother. It is just not going to happen. He have a standard and he holds himself to that standard because his audience holds him to that standard. So, whereas there's nothing monumental and groundbreaking about this, it's just dope. It doesn't need to be anything more because of what it is. So now, get to the part of the review where I break down the songs track for track and kind of speak on them a little bit. So off the top, we have the opening track, Rocker vs. NBA, produced by Nam Nitty. Now, at first, when I heard this was a sample that was used both in the mainstream and underground a lot. First person I heard use it was 50 Cent in '05 on Piggyback. And normally that threw me off. I kind of just was like, depends though. Like if the person flips the sample in a unique way, I'll kind of allow it. But this was a straight up way that everybody has used it before. So I was like, wait, what are we doing here? And then I realized, oh, Ross Clot. It's a no drum beat. Like that's one of the first things Seed saw them start the song is like him acknowledge that it's a no drum beat. And whereas I despise no drum beats for the most part, I've always said I'll make an exception if on a project is at a minimum and it actually fits the premise of what is being done over the drumless beat. And in this case, it actually does. You know, it's basically a breakdown analogy of if the underground was like the rocker league and the mainstream was the NBA, and you know the stakes are high because the odds are always against us. We're the underdog, and we're trying to cut through, come in the clutch, and come back from behind and win the game because everybody rooting against us. But we stick together and we get the job done. So nice opener, despite the fact that I don't like drumless beats. I will tolerate this. It gets the blind man's stamp of approval. Anyway, moving on to the next song. It Ain't Litty, produced by Murder Megs. Big up to Murder Megs. Like, don't sleep on this girl. This girl making more fire than a lot of these boring ass, monotonous producers out there. And, you know, you can tell that she has, you know, roots in the traditional boom bap vibe, but she puts a modern flair on it and manages to walk the thin line very, very delicately and precisely. And like this beat and like most of the other beats on this album are very simple and minimal, but if done right, as far as subject matter and the way the MC slides over the beat, it works. And this particular beat reminds me of Mass Appeal in terms of simple but effective. And word around the campfire is them supposed to be doing a video for this song. So yeah, there's nothing really specific, you know, lyrical content wise, you know, see just talking him arrogant shit as he should. And, you know, he does the thing where he rhymes the entire word all the way through the rhyme scheme of the verse. He does that several times here as he has before. So that's always appreciated. So, not a good song. So, track 3, Shit Balloons, produced by Team Demo. Now this is treading on familiar territory as far as Seed's subject matter, where he speaks in a somewhat vague tone about the griminess of the streets of New York and the different boroughs, and just the fact that living in general is a hassle and a stress and a challenge. But he just kind of like hovers over that concept and that idea and that subject, but in an NYC way. Like I said, familiar territory. The beat is okay, nothing special, nothing horrible either. There's nothing horrible on this project. But I mean, when you have things to compare it to, that's what kind of makes it, you know, a bit below the other levels of stuff. And even the below stuff is still high. So there you go. Says a lot, a whole lot. Moving on to Y'all Wildin', produced by Nam Nitty. Now this is my second favorite beat on the album, EP. And it reminds me of Hold You from Master Ace Disposable Arts album with Gene Gray, that song that Ayatollah produced. Big up to Ayatollah. It reminds me of that. And once again, we have Seed just being Seed. If you're a fan, you're supposed to know what that means. Barring out, talking him shit, being very confident, and basically talking about how y'all wildin'. So, not a solid song. Can't complain about it. We're there. This is what basically I say when you get to a certain point in a project where you're like, okay, this is legit. I'll be fine listening. We're there. Of course, sometimes the project gets a complete derailment, but not too often. And fortunately, this time, that's not going to be the case. So now we get to She Gang Gang 2, produced by CJ Dope. Now, off the bat, this is like a follow up to the first song, She Gang Gang. And that was in itself a pretty interesting story. But this is some next level shit. Especially since the fact that I can actually relate to this story because something similar happened to me when I was in LA. You know, big up to Hector and certain people. You don't know. You know, it's a good thing I got around my neighborhood and was friendly with the vatos and all the other certain elements that were there. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to get into detail. But as far as this song, Seed meets a girl on the train, puts his Mac down, get her number. So yeah man, I well want to pum pum and thing. So I go link her. So him shout her and thing, them talk and they talk and thing and basically him say, yo, can forward, can come over. She's like, yeah, I'll cook you dinner. Come in. So she gives him the address. But like any wise street person going to go link a girl in unfamiliar territory for the first time, he lets his peoples know, yo, come with me still because if anything jump off, you don't know, you know. See you downstairs and get ready. So him reach the gal ends and go inside and he's like, yeah man, you don't know, you know, what go on and vibes good at first and you know, he's like, alright, cool. Everything is everything, time to get to business. You better earn some pum pum. So them start get all hot and heavy and shit and then next thing you know, 3 people come out of the damn back ready for rob this brother. It's like, yeah, we're there, pussy hole, you get set up. And he's like, oh shit, what the hell's going on here? But then in the midst of all of this, one of the dudes recognized him as a brethren or one of him cousins. And him know him from when them grew up. And it also turns out these cats were Decepticons. Now, if you know New York history and you know New York gang history, then you know all about the Decepticons. And them brother there, no bueno. Like Boot Camp and Sean Price and a bunch of them people was a part of this. Anyway, do your research and you'll see how serious it is and how detriment of a situation it could have been had it gone left for Mr. Bad Seed here. But luckily, man say, oh, you know, we can't rob this brother. I know him, you know, I'll give him a pass. And at one point he's like, yeah, one of the brothers was scared or pissed off because him never get to transform. What that means is them never get to go into be savage attack mode and do them savagery. So luckily he got out of there, but him is like, I ain't messing with them gal again. And yeah, I mean, you know, Havoc said it. Pussy bring you in this world, but it can damn sure take you out. Real shit. Anyway, not a sample song. So yeah, big ups to that. But now, we'll get to what I think is the highlight of this EP and the most significant song on this EP because, I mean, I can relate to it. And most people who are at a certain point in life can relate to it. And the song is Good Enough, produced by Take Notes. Way ahead of everything else on this album. I mean, shit, I keep saying album. EP wise, as far as how the production is, like, I love this shit. I love the subject matter and I love the beat. This is like the 10 out of 10 song on this project for me. And it's something that I unfortunately can relate to. And a lot of people can relate to because it is the world we live in, you know, not being good enough. Because being good enough is a warped sense of reality, both on the part of males and on the part of females. And it's just the whole battle of constantly trying to say, okay, I have a bag of money so I can get any girl so I don't have to settle. But then you overlook a certain girl who might not be as attractive as a dime piece and she might be a little bit overweight, but she has the ride or die characteristics that is wifey material. But because she don't look a certain way and because you have options, you overlook her. She isn't good enough. And in the same script, a lot of these women, you know, like Seed said, you know, them not looking for love, them looking for lifestyle. Chris Rock spoke on that from a long ass time ago and I peeped game and I've been acting accordingly since then, you know. And this is why I pride myself on doing what I'm doing, being broke as shit, because when you get money, you're not gonna know who is who. And this song here, Good Enough, just enforces that. So nothing but praises and utmost respect for this song. This song alone is worth the price of admission for this EP. Yeah, you done know. Another super blind man stamp of approval. And now we'll move to the icing on the cake. This is a slice of cake, it's not a whole cake, it's an EP. But yeah, the cap off, and it's Like Mike. And again, production-wise, this is something that has been done before, but this time it's done properly and appropriately to the subject matter, so I'll give it a pass, because a lot of times the whole Halloween sampling thing just got left, or them do the typical I am a serial killer type shit with it. But in this case, Seed is basically cutting people off, and then basically saying, I cut you off so viciously that it's like I'm basically the social version of Michael Myers cutting motherfuckers off. And it works. It's a nice ender. And people go left, we have to go right. Pretty simple. Nothing much to say, nothing less to say. Very, very solid EP overall, for what it is especially. I mean, a lot of times people's leftover tracks don't see the light of day because they're not up to par. But even if something greater than myself didn't exist and this came out, it's a piece of work that can stand on its own. So I definitely recommend this. There's a fuck ton more material coming from Bad Seed this year, and yours truly will be speaking on it. And I'm probably going to maintain this consistency, but if he doesn't, I'm going to keep it a buck, because I'm a fan. And if you love and respect something, you should be able to constructively criticize it. But so far, I don't have nothing to say despite what I've said. This whole thing gets the blind man stamp of approval. I give it 3.5 white canes. You done know. Bless up. Until next time, this has been the Blind Reviewer. I have spoken. Shit, lick the table.